We're full of idols. And at our annual conference that we had a few weeks ago, one of the speakers said that Satan's campaign slogan is, oh, I missed the slide, sorry. Satan's campaign slogan is "Make America Pagan Again," and I thought, man, that's witty. I mean, that's really well said. And dang, how true that is. And man, Satan is running a great campaign. He's got a lot of voters behind that mindset of a pagan culture. And again, there's another sermon. I could spend 20, 25 minutes just talking about what that means, okay? I don't have time to do that, but that is what is happening in this culture. But we've got to remember that Satan is the enemy. That is who we are fighting against ultimately. But when we look at everything around our culture that is that's a train wreck, we can get angry about a lot of things. And I think Christians get angry. I mean, I get angry sometimes. I mean, I keep informed on what's happening out there. I think it's important that we are informed. But I end up getting angry sometimes. But what did Paul do when he went into Athens? Okay, let's look at this. It said, so he reasoned in the synagogue. What he did, I mean, it does say up front that he was distressed over what he saw. But he went to the people, okay? He actually went to the philosophers. You don't have to go to the philosophers, by the way. Sometimes people get worried, oh, man, I can't compete with that. You don't have to go to those people. You got plenty of other people you can go to. But Paul, he reasoned in the synagogues with both Jews and God-fearing Greeks, as well as in the marketplace, day by day, with those who happened to be there. He went to them. I mean, Paul really did Matthew 10. He went to the people, he reasoned with them, he got to know them, he talked with them, he listened to them, and he shared his faith, and maybe he even served them in some way. Those are a lot of the principles out of Matthew 10. He went and he did it. And too often, Christians in the church, you know what we do? We look at the mess around our culture, we get angry, we get afraid, and we huddle in our church. We huddle in our church and we're afraid, and maybe, again, we're angry, and we yell about the culture. Maybe we yell at the culture from the safety from within our walls. I even think sometimes Christians pout over the state of this country. Or, and I preached on this a few weeks ago, I won't go into the whole sermon, but we rely on the government to try to fix everything. And so then we pour all of our energy into politics rather than making disciples of Jesus Christ. And that is a huge mistake to do that. Again, be informed. Care about what's happening in politics, yes. But we're making disciples. That's what Jesus called us to do. And this statement was also made at our annual conference. When the church is, or when the culture is at its worst, the church needs to be at its best, folks. And right now, the culture is at its worst. The culture needs the church to be at its best. We need to be at our best at taking Jesus out into the world. And we're not going to do that if we're camped out inside the walls of our congregations. You know, the churches that will be around 20 years from now, maybe even less, let's say 15 or even 10, the churches that are going to be around are the ones that do what we're talking about here. They're the ones that go out and engage in the marketplaces. To go back to that one, what was that? Yeah, I mean, he went into the marketplaces to speak with the people. He got to know new people, and he discipled them. Those are the churches that are going to be around in 15 to 20 years. The other ones, they're not going to make it. Because you know something? Nominal Christianity is not going to survive in this culture. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. I think that is what God is doing in this culture. And by nominal Christianity, what I mean is, you go to church, even consistently, okay? You go to church, you're a good, generally good person, maybe you serve on a committee or so, you do your nice church things, and that's it. Nominal Christianity is not going to survive. What I just described for you is not going to make a dent in the culture that is around us. It is not going to matter to them. And offering a watered down version of the gospel to try to make it more palatable to the culture, that's not going to get it done either. That might win some approvals and some likes on social media out there from some groups of people, but it is not going to be delivering the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's not going to make the difference that God's calling us to make. We live, folks, in an exciting time. The harvest is plentiful. I'm going back to Matthew 10 here. And Jesus said, the harvest's plentiful. Pray for God to send workers out in the field to go bring in the harvest. And folks, that's what we need to be doing. Going and bringing in the harvest. So again, pray over Good News Club. Pray over Center Shop Ministry. Okay, we didn't say anything about that today, but that's coming. Pray over our small groups. Think about who you can invite into a small group, one that you're going to be attending, or maybe you know some of those younger adults to invite. Be thinking about them. Be praying over them. I've mentioned, I think this was in our prayer meeting. Pray for one person that God has you to meet. Somebody new that you haven't met yet, that you can ultimately share the gospel with. We need to be doing these things. Again, if we want to be here in 20 years, okay? Or 10, 15. I mean, it's going to take that because those are churches that are going to make it. All right. We want to have communion today. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up here. We have a song that we are going to sing. Oh, yeah.